All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is iTiS Well of Worship Fellowship. Today is the 10th of June, 2024. It's Monday again. Being Monday means we do question and answers or questions and responses. And we don't restrict ourselves to just the Bible. We attempt topics from sociology, from philosophy, from psychology, and so on and so forth. Apart from politics, which we reserve for Thursday. So if you have a question for us, feel free to send it. The numbers are always included as part of the cover image if you're watching this on YouTube. Otherwise, the person who forwarded this audio to you can get in touch with us and record an audio response. Today being Monday, we have some people already sent in their questions. We encourage that because then, we can probably do research if necessary or just prepare this Zoom meeting. Yeah, so I'm going to start with my brother Mugoya, who has been following the series about God. If you've not been following those series, go to our YouTube channel. We are doing a series about God. I think we've done 3 parts now. There's about 2 more parts, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So feel free to watch those videos and then come back with questions. So my brother Mugo, are you there? What is your question?
Yes, I'm here.
Ask.
Yes, now my question was stemming from there was some preaching about the different gods that one who told Abraham to sacrifice a son was different from the one that gave Abraham a lamb to sacrifice instead of Isaac. And the argument was God could not test Abraham because he knew him already. And I had a different version of it. To me, I believe that it's possible God to test us. In the question I sent you an example of King Hezekiah that was told by Prophet Isaiah to set his house because he was about to die. He had some illness. But then King Hezekiah begged Isaiah to go back and ask God to add him more 15 years because of what probably he had done in his reign. He was following God religiously, and King Hezekiah has added more 15 years, but that was after some intervention. And I believe if King Hezekiah didn't do this, probably the following year he was going to really die. So this kind of thing changed his years to be added on him. Then bringing it back to Abraham, that Abraham was tested because probably God wanted to see what he can actually decide depending on what God had done for him. It also brings me to the idea of predestination, where someone is, this idea of predestination brings a notion that God knows whether I will go to heaven or not, which to me, I think it is me who determines it. That depending on the choices I make, I can either choose to choose God or not to choose God. Or choose Satan. And it also brings this idea, if God knows that I'll go or not, that means we should also stop to preach, since God knows each of all our destinations. Why do I then preach to people when God already knows their destination, whether they'll go or not? So that's my submission. That was
Okay, so just to be clear, your first question is about God
actually,
testing us, and then your
yes,
second question is
yes.
about predestination.
It is submitted in the same like my submission gotten from priest is someone about the different gods that told Abraham to sacrifice a child.
Okay.
I hope I've been gotten.
I hope priest, the question is directed to priest because it's from the series is preaching. Priest, have you got the question?
Yeah, that can be told along the way. Mugoya should always chip in as we continue. In
Okay.
case, yeah, sure.
So please shoot.
Yeah, you see, first of all, in the written question of Mugoya, I hope moderator you will post that even in the chat
Sure.
for people to read through and then follow. In that, Mugoya warned us that this is what he thinks, and he would like to know what we think about what he thinks. And I think that is also very important, because that is what we do here. We haven't claimed to know everything. We just think around things, and we want everyone to think around the very things that we think around, which Mugoya is doing, and I congratulate him. And he also gives the background where we started from. We have, in one of our series, we have demonstrated that the God who asked Abraham to sacrifice his son is different from the God who stopped him from sacrificing his son. The God who asked Abraham was from the League of Gods, which we have discovered that League of God is known as Elohim. So one of those many gods asked Abraham to go and sacrifice his son, because it was the order of the day. People were, in the patriarchal religion, people were sacrificing human beings to the gods, which is not different from most of our traditional religions all over, wherever you come from. At least a certain God has asked for a human being as a sacrifice. So Abraham takes his son in obedience to the God's demands, because that means prosperity for him, wealth and health. I mean, a proper relationship with God determines your health and wealth. So he goes and decides to do what the gods have asked. Then before he does that, another God interrupts. And that God, we discovered in that text of Genesis chapter 22 that now that God was Yahweh. Yahweh stopped Abraham from doing that. Now, in the Hebrew Bible, Yahweh distinguishes himself from the pantheon of Elohim. And he designates himself as the God of this ethnic group known as the Israelites, okay? And at that point, Abraham starts now worshiping Yahweh. And then the next generation will speak up from that point. So basically, that is the background where we had started. And we just wanted people to understand that when they're reading their Bible, first of all, they need to know what they are face to face with. Because many people read, and the Lord said, and God said, and the Lord said. My question that I'm asking everyone in this series, are you sure the God that is saying in your Bible is the Christian God? Because we need to be very, 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 very sure about that. So that is what this series is about. This series is about us identifying the God that we worship and what we call God, because we have discovered so far in this series that many of us are actually worshiping traditional gods in the name of God. Yahweh is a storm god, and he is an ethnic god. Elohim is a group of gods. You don't know which is which. Those altars that you see that are built in the Old Testament, like the one that Jacob built after wrestling with a certain god, You see where there was a ladder of gods coming up and down. And I think he named it Beth El. It is El, the altar of gods. So you don't know which gods that you're dealing with, basically. So we want people to be careful. We are just trying to instill an inquisitive kind of reading of this book known as the Bible, so that people get to know what God we are dealing with. Okay, so it was it was in that spirit that we picked up from another angle, and then we were asking if why would a God who knows everything test Abraham? Why would we test Abraham if he knows everything? Because our assumption was, okay, that we are also anachronistic, but our assumption was that wherever you see a test, the agenda of that test and the goal of testing is knowing. Okay, so that is where we came from. Where we came from, that angle of assuming. I call it an assumption because maybe we might have been wrong. That wherever you see a testing, an examination is due to the lack of information, and those who are testing, okay, are intending to know what they don't know, and that testing can help them know. So first, we challenge that. If that is the goal of every test, we challenge that on the terms of omniscience. If God is omniscient, then he has no need to test to know. And actually, yesterday we were dealing with some of his characteristic attributes, and then we discovered that no one can inform him, no one can teach him, for he knows everything. So and it looks like that God who knows everything is different from the God who asked Abraham to go and sacrifice his son, for this God to prove whether Abraham really believed him and could worship him. So that is where we came from. We came from that angle. And then when you bring in Hezekiah, okay, you seem like you want to shift from the idea that every testing is about God knowing or the tester knowing, but rather testing can not be directed to the tester knowing. The tester might be already knowing, granted, but this testing serves a different purpose. And I would like to pause from here and ask you, Mugoya, is that where you are?
Come again with the question.
Are you saying that maybe God doesn't test to know because God already knows everything? Maybe he tests for other reasons. And that's why you bring in Hezekiah and then the free will thing.
Yes, my thinking is God tests to see what, okay, not to see, but he know. I don't think he knows. He wants to know what you're going to do.
Okay. So that means that you don't agree that God is omniscient. You don't agree that God knows everything, do you?
I do agree.
And then within that knowing everything, and then he wants to know, you argue? Do you see the contradiction? Because
yes, I'm meeting you.
yes, because if he knows everything, then there is no at any one point where he needs to know. Because you can't be omniscient and have a need to know, a need to prove. There is nothing to prove. He knows everything. In omniscience, everything is proven and known. So there is no way he can know. Either he doesn't know everything, therefore he has a limited omniscience, which is not omniscience. Because the term omni is all. It is all and always. Okay, so then God is not omniscient. Okay, therefore the God who tests, whenever you see God testing people in the Old Testament or throughout the Bible, by the way, whenever you see that God testing, then you know that you are face to face with a God who doesn't know, but who needs to know. He needs to be educated for that matter. So either God knows everything and does not need to know, or he doesn't know everything and he's informed as well, just like we are informed. So we just have to make that choice.
Or he's just evil and just tries to play his own games.
Okay, okay. Mugoya, come.
Yeah, I was wondering if he knows everything, is there a possibility that even my choice of choosing him or not to choose him, he knows? And where does that leave my choice if he
Yes,
knows it already?
yes, your free will. That is the point where I was coming. But I wanted us to first of all establish, to make a choice on this call. Which God would one prefer to worship and qualify as their God? Is it the God who knows everything, or the God who does not know everything? Because this is the choice that we need to make, and it's very important as believers. What God do you worship? Do you worship the God who knows everything, or you worship a God who is informed in certain areas? Because this is the objective of this God series that we are doing at iTiS. We want people not only to understand who God is, but also to make that choice with reasons. Because seriously, Mugoya, before I move even to that question of yours, which I'll handle also, why would someone worship a God who is lacking in knowledge? And why would that be a God? Yes.
No, seriously, I can't worship such a God.
Exactly. So you choose the omniscient God, which I also choose, by the way, because for me, if we are to inform our God, then we are co-Godwing. Sometimes we God him, and in other areas he gods us. Forget about that English. Those are terms I've come up with. So it is important for us to understand that if you're worshiping any God who needs to test to prove, then you better know that your God is not sure, not as informed. He also doesn't know what is going to happen. So you and your God are both gambling with knowledge. Therefore, you are inspiring each other. You are inspiring your God as he inspires you in what he knows, etc., etc. So for me, I thought that is very important for us to first of all establish. This is why in those series we are discouraging people and actually pointing them to these red flags, okay? That when you see that God was testing, okay? For instance, like in James, I think James chapter 1, verse 17, and I think First Peter also, I think it is also chapter 1. You get those verses even in the New Testament where God is testing. That when you get these trials, do not worry, because God is testing you. What is the goal of God testing me with these trials? Why are problems God's way of trying me? Trying me to what end? Because many people think that when they go through these crucibles, these sufferings, it is God actually trying them. Job lost everything and he suffered the way he suffered because God wanted to really know If Job really believed him, what kind of God is that? Then that means this God does not even know who believe him and who do not believe him. But there is another God in the New Testament who says, I know my sheep, and my sheep know me, and they hear my voice. Does that God sound like the God of Job and the God of James and
Actually, I
Peter?
wanted to bring that example of Job, and then I realized later that it's Satan who wanted to know.
But you see, God also wanted to know. There was a meeting between Satan and God, remember very well, Mugoya. And the debate was, God was saying, Job believes me. And Satan asked God, are you sure? Are you sure? Then God said, I am sure. Then Satan gave him evidence. You see, Job does not believe you. Job is there because of the wealth he has and the health he has. Give me a chance and take away all this. And you see, a sure God wouldn't have given Satan an opportunity. But because this God also wanted to prove this Job man, he said, okay, let's see. And when you read through that book, the four friends, okay, and the conversations between him and Job, and later on, after all the four friends have failed, the statements of Job and the statement of the wife, you will get to understand that Job also gets to a point where enough is enough. And this God still holds on to also confirm. And luckily, Job never gave up on this God. And God said, oh, now I am sure. You guys were serious. Now I am sure. It is that very theology that many people have picked up even today. When they go through problems, God is trying them. Temptations, some temptations come from the devil. Other temptations, aka tests, come from God. This is the theology. And this is because people are worshiping a God who they do not believe is an omniscient God. And it is at this point that we have to conclude. Are we worshiping an omniscient God, or we are worshiping a God who is informed?
Maybe before you leave that, well, probably people may need to know, and actually I may need to know which God was that testing Job.
Exactly. The gods that we have seen in the Old Testament, because the Old Testament we've seen many gods. We have seen the League of Gods, Elohim. We have seen Yahweh. All these gods are not omniscient. Just like your God from Busoga, I remember the last time I checked, you were from the eastern part of Uganda.
Yes, I am.
Those gods from Busoga are not omniscient. The gods from the Jethros and the Serubides from the central region are not omniscient. When you read your gods, and I've been advising people at iTiS, and let me even take this opportunity to advise everyone here, you go back and study the gods of your ethnic group. Those gods are going to help you to understand the Christian God. There is no way anyone will understand this Christian God that we're preaching unless they go back to the ethnic tribes and investigate the gods that your ancestors worshipped. I don't care where you come from, whether you come from Tanzania, Kenya, Asia, whatever. Go back and do an investigation on the gods that your ancestors worshipped. Those are going to inform your theology of this Christian God, because the God we are presenting is different. Unfortunately, the Bible presents ethnic gods. This is why I've always told people here that when you read the Old Testament, you are face to face with the Judaism cult. And the gods there are not essentially the Christian God. It is the very reason why Jesus was crucified and killed. Why? Because he disagreed with Yahweh. Yahweh was combatant and was killing for his people. Then Jesus comes and says, well, I am the one who was pronounced. But you say, of course, I was misrepresented. I am here to die for the people. And they said, what nonsense is this? So those gods that you see testing are not omniscient gods. We have to go back and investigate which gods are these that do not know everything.
Okay.
Yes.
Actually, Jesus says in the book of John, the Gospel, he says that from the beginning, Satan or the devil is the killer. He denies ever killing.
I really missed him. His audio wasn't good, but maybe probably someone had him. So basically, what we are requesting all people who are listening to us, it is to go back and investigate and find out. And the Bible is also not immune of these gods. I am being bold by saying this because I might even be stoned for this, telling people that Yahweh is not the Christian God and Elohim is the league of gods. And those gods are equivalent to your ethnic gods. I am risking my life, but you see, I'm used. I started opening my mouth wide when I was still in the Seventh Adventist religion. And we part ways, violently, by the way. Even where I have come, my mouth is still wide. I am still warning people. So, so you might also chase me eventually. So,
We shall put sanctions on you.
but now let me turn to the question of the second part of the question of Brother Mugoya, where he asks, what impact, what effect has the omniscience of this God on the free will of human beings? How much does knowledge, okay? Let's use someone. How much does someone's knowledge of what you're doing or about to do affect and effect that act or that choice? Has someone got my question?
Come again?
How much does someone's knowledge affect and effect one's choice or one's acts? How much?
It is a lot. My knowing has a great influence on what I choose to do and what I do not choose to do.
Who?
I think it has all impact and all effect.
Did you get the question? You guys who are asking today.
Eh? You said how much does one's knowing?
Someone's knowledge. How much does someone's knowledge affect or effect, okay, another's will, choice, and act? Let me give you an example. If I know that, okay, if Jethro, let me use Jethro and Ebbi, those ones won't be annoyed. If Jethro knows that I am pursuing Ebbi, and okay, let me just pause there. How much does that affect and effect what is going to happen between me and Ebbi?
I don't think unless Jethro has an access to AB and somehow
Jethro just knows. Jethro just knows.
I don't think there is an affect, no an effect.
Kato, you were on.
If Jethro just knows AB, then there won't be any effect.
And no affect.
Yes.
Good. Now, Brother Mugoy.
Yes, I'm on.
The omniscience of God has nothing to do whatsoever with your free will. He just knows.
Are you done? Because I'm not convinced right there.
That's why I was telling, because I want you to come in.
I'm not convinced.
In what
So,
area?
so if he knows that I'm going to choose Satan,
Okay.
how then does he bother me to choose him?
Okay. Good. Because of the choosing. Yes, because of the choosing. The knowledge of God, of your choice of Satan, okay, is a knowledge of the choice, but not an influence of the choice. Therefore, both the knowledge of your choice of Satan is not a constant because of the choosing. Why? Because you have free will. For instance, God knows. Now, this is very slippery, but let me attempt as usual. God knows that Mugoya is going to choose Satan. The same knowledge of God, knowing that Mugoya is choosing Satan, okay, is within the same omniscience, or is the same knowledge that choosing fluctuates, hence free will. So because choosing is negotiable, a God who knows that Mugoya is choosing Satan, isn't it, negotiates the choosing, does not negotiate the choice. For lack of other English words.
But he's the one who created these choices in the first place. So
he did not create the choices, he created the choosing.
So where did the choices arise from?
The choices are alternatives in place already. God created a choosing being. And
So
because and in fact that will come even. I saw another question from, I think, in Nyawolis, or I don't know, the model will remind me, but we'll come to the question of the mysterious origin of Satan. But for now, I want us to concentrate on the fact that the knowledge of God does not influence or even affect or even effect one who's choosing. God knows. Just like I gave you a demonstration of Jethro, me, and Abby. And you guys agreed that there is no effect and there is no affect. So there is a suspicion here that just because God is God and he's all-knowing, therefore he's responsible for my choice. No, we are discussing omniscience. And it is restricted to that. Because people want to bring the omnipotence within the omniscience. This God is sovereign, all authority, and is all power, omnipotent. Therefore, his knowledge might be responsible of our choices and destinies. That I disagree. He knows. So what happens when I change my choice? He knows, he knew. Because this is how you have been. I was in the Seventh Adventist church or religion for 15 years. He knew. He didn't drag me out of it. I chose out of it. He knew. He knows what I even don't know in the future. He knows what I've forgotten in the past. He knows what I have neglected and I'm even distracted from in the present. That is omniscience for you. And that knowledge has nothing to do with my free will. I'm still a free will being. I am with him freely. And I am free to live and I am free to stay. even the so-called promise of eternal life is an alternative. This is why I keep telling people that hell, there is no eternal burning fire in hell. I keep telling people that there is nothing like that. Not because I've been in hell, but because it doesn't make sense for this God. So you can choose heaven or hell. You can choose heaven to live just because for you life is an alternative that you prefer. Or you can choose hell to not live and exist forever. And that does not necessarily mean that you're going to be in hell suffering. Then have you died? Because if someone is going to suffer eternally in hell, have they died? No, they haven't. But this omniscience of God really has nothing to do with your freedom. So we should stop blaming God for being who he is. And then making sure that we have failed because this God knew. The reason as to why I failed, because let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. And it is going to be an awkward one. Moderator, please allow me use it. If has anyone ever been in these armies ago? I think Bob is here, and we sometimes we shared an experience, and Bob has ever lived in this musical where the walls were halfway, and you could hear what is happening at the neighbor's room. Okay, so most of us were bachelors in those musical. One of you would bring a lady, and then one of you, it would happen that in that night you didn't have one. And then at around 10 or beyond, they started their sexual activities. The neighbor who was involved in that, okay, knew that their neighbor, knows that they are into the act. My question to you, did it stop him from doing his thing because you know that he's doing his thing?
Maybe the pressure reduces.
Okay, Mugo, yeah. So I want your pressure to reduce. And the pressure that God is behind your failure or your success, that pressure should reduce. He just knows, just do your thing, don't worry.
Yes, I've gotten that one. But still, I was wondering if now he knows the destination of my eternal life, either going to hell or going to heaven. Does that mean that I can do anything because you already know whatever is going to my destination?
The omniscience of God is not predestined. It does not destine anything. Do you understand, Mugoya?
No, I didn't understand that one.
It does not. You cannot have free will beings and then have predetermined destinies. Then they are not free will beings. We are free will beings in the realm of the omniscience of God. So let's use for example, if God knows that Isaiah is going to go to hell, that knowledge has nothing to do with the choices of Isaiah. That's what I'm trying to communicate here.
Priest?
Yes.
I guess what Mgwa is trying to say, I will stand to be corrected by him, is the one who makes all these possibilities, the possible ways one's life can evolve, like those choices, it is dictated by this omniscient God. So by that God actually allowing those possible ways to evolve in, it's kind of like limited free will.
But
There are choices, yes, tetuganye choices kweziri naye nga they are also determined, so you can't ever live a life that isn't destined for you. So no matter whatever the trajectory you take, you will hit the dead end, whether you hit it in a good way or a bad way, but it is already predetermined for you. There is nothing you can do.
let's discuss dictation. Let's say that you are born, you did not choose to be born in a poor family, like some of us. That is number one, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Number two, leave your microphone on, Kato, and we go together. Number two, while you are born in a poor family, okay, that is dictation number one. Dictation number two, you find yourself, okay, in a situation where you are responsible of millions of money or of dollars. Those are the choices. Aren't those the choices you're talking about? Good.
Yes.
Now, while you didn't have a choice on where you were born, do you have a choice to take or to not take these billions of dollars that do not belong to you?
Yeah, you have a choice, but really
Thank you.
initial.
Pause there. Pause there. If you have a choice, then the choices here are not dictated anymore.
Yes.
Good. So the choices are dictated at a stage where you are not conscious, because free will is for conscious human beings.
True, but like those possibilities, if we go back a little small, like taking that money, like there might be like 10 choices you could have done there, but they are on retain.
But you see, Kato.
They are still determined, yes.
Kato. The determination of those choices, it is because of the nature of who you are. Who are you? Can you have alternatives outside your identity? And they stay alternatives.
Yeah, they could be. I think maybe you could start your life as a human and maybe you end up a butterfly.
Now that makes sense for you. Would you prefer that? And if you did, who are you? Kato, we are waiting.
Am I?
So what is that I? Because that I also becomes a butterfly. Kato, we are waiting.
But you can't actually you can't define I. If it is I, you will reach the dead end.
No, you can define I. I is limited to I. But if I can become a butterfly, I ceases to be an I. Unless if
no,
you are saying
I can change.
Unless if you are saying there's if I can change, then I is not an identity.
Actually, you can say I is a mind.
Exactly.
Something that can.
No problem. Whether you call it mind, if I is a mind, Kato, and it keeps changing, it has no identity. What keeps changing cannot be identified. True or false?
What camouflages can't be identified?
Camouflaging,
No, it can be identified in the state where it is.
Different from change, brother. Camouflaging is different from change. Let us not be generous with English terms here. We are discussing change. A human being becomes a butterfly. Is that a butterfly or a human being?
No, you take its current state.
Okay, so therefore we lost the human being. Now we have a butterfly.
Yeah.
which is subject to change tomorrow to become a cow.
Yes, which can again be a human
so my
being.
question is, what is it? Because at any stage, look here, Kato, at any stage, the alternatives are limited. Can a butterfly make a computer?
No.
Now, at every stage, because of the identity, who you are, the choices are limited based on who you are. So to accuse God that the choices are limited, they are limited because of who you are. That is not God's problem.
No, but now who I am is also dictated. Like, for instance, we are humans, we can't fly.
Exactly.
Huh?
So reduce the ego and believe that you are a creature. Stop assuming who you are not. This is why we are calling you to. This is why we are calling you to bow down and accept who you are. You are not so big and so huge like you human beings actually assume. We exaggerate our esteem. We are human beings, Brother Kato. So stop arguing. But you see, we are human beings but limited. I could have become a butterfly and then you a butterfly. You are not a human being.
Now, you see, by nature of being a human being,
Yes,
you're
yes.
compelled to take some certain actions
Exactly.
compared to others. Like now, being a man, you might have your crushes, maybe like on any person. Let's use the previous example that you gave. You might be having your crush on what? On AB, and you find AB is married. To you it is relevant as a person, because your feelings be mattering, you understand, and maybe now following
because between me and you, Kato, you know that whether you have a crush on X and you happen to get X, you wouldn't prefer Tom to have a crush on the same X, would you?
I wouldn't.
Now that is who you are. Then if you wouldn't, why are you having a crush on the X that belongs to Tom? Now,
that is who I am.
Exactly. Now, that who you are violates the existential principles of your environment. Therefore, you excuse yourself from your desires. Or you come to a conclusion that there is something as a fault in your beingness. Because you need Tom with the proper attitude towards you. And because that attitude towards you can be affected by your crush and desires of his X. All right? So you avoid X. That is called being a human being. Those are your limitations.
So Isaiah, if you're born faulty, like all humans are, because all our preferences actually tend to deviate from what might be inherently good for us. And you let's say you're born faulty, and you're more likely to choose also like the things that you need, which are also deemed faulty. So it's not you who created this kind of messed up environment where you might want things that are contrary to maybe the creator, what he wants you to do. So either way, you're born, let's say you're born faulty. It's not your own making, okay? So you're destined to always pick like wrong things, which are also limited. There are limited choices of what you can make. And there is this kind of a person who knows you from your past and the future, from beginning and the end. So as you're trying to mess up, if we take like a big picture on this thing, you
I get your question. Let me just come in from there. Don't worry.
Yes.
There are two ways to be born faulty. Okay? given our standards, we know that a human being is born with 2 hands, 2 ears, 2 eyes, a nose, and 2 legs, etc., isn't it?
Yes.
But someone can be born without a hand. Okay? Yes. And being born without a hand has nothing to do with the choices that person is going to make in life. I mean, the philosophical and the psychological choices that they are going to make. He has limitations of physical activities because of the missing hand or missing eye. But he has no limitations in choices. What am I trying to say? In the context of the free will where we've been discussing, if you're physically born faulty, aka you are missing a physical organ or body part, it has nothing to do with your free will. Because disability is not inability. Haven't we said that again and again? That we
How about ignorance? Ignorance in the head, the
but you see,
brains.
we are here because we are fixing that. Because we are born with that kind of ignorance, we have created schools, we have created clubs, we have written books, we have come up with technology to make sure that we fight ignorance so that your free will matures from ignorant choices that you make. So in other words, every free will being must invest themselves in knowing about the options and alternatives around so that they can make uninformed choices, therefore. It is for this reason that we keep telling people at iTiS that your head must inform your heart, not your heart informing your head. Thank you. Moderator, I don't know where we are with Mugoya.
That's what I wanted to ask. I don't know where we left Mugoya behind or he has been following.
No, somewhere Kato diverted me.
Yes, we are sorry, and Kato also needed to be addressed. So he will come back again, and I think it is fair for someone to jump into someone's question and also ask their queries about the same. But where we had left Mugoya, me and you, was that I was trying to affirm that God knowing everything has nothing to do with your free will, because that was your major question. If God knows that Isaiah is going to end up in hell or he's going to end up in heaven, okay? So does that mean that God has predestined Isaiah for hell or for heaven? My answer to you is no. God just knows. And those are the examples that I was giving you, that if you know that Peter is sleeping with his wife in the next room, you have no powers to make him stop, and you have no powers to make him continue stronger in that kind of activity. All you know is that they are doing it. And that's all. When they will stop, it is their choice. When they won't stop, it is still their choice. So you are still a free will being within the omniscience of God. I wanted for you to either agree or disagree, but that is the information that I have for you, Brother Mugoya. Do you have any other query?
No, I've gotten you to where you just stopped. Though I was just wondering, some of my friends, my pastors, put in a lot of power and resources preaching the word, knowing that if they change their choices, probably they will end up in heaven. But something is telling me God already knows that they will change, even if a priests or the pastors don't put in a lot.
Yeah,
I hope I don't know if I've gotten you. I mean, I don't know if you've gotten what you mean.
I think it all depends on the kind of God that you are worshiping, really. Because if you think that just because your God knows, therefore he has destined you for that, then it is a pity. It is a pity. It is really a pity. Because his knowledge has nothing to influence your free will. Then if his knowledge influences our free will, then we are not free will beings. That's the whole thing. So people should not be scared by the knowledge of God. Why are people scared by the knowledge of God? Because the knowledge of God is not our business. Let me just put it that way. What God knows is not your business. Your business is what you know. What do you know about the alternatives before you? Because here's the thing. Omniscience is something that we fit into. It is not something that fits into our choices. Has anyone understood that? Katoa Mukami, let me first make this point. Has anyone understood this?
Yes, I've understood it.
Yes, the omniscience of God does not fit and fix our choices. No, our choices fit into the omniscience of God because he is omniscient. Being omniscient means that he knows past, that is before you were, present when you are, and future where you are not. So your role here is to make those choices based on the kind of information that you have. For instance, let me use I've forgotten the philosophical term, how they call it. When I remember it, I will tell you, I'll say it. But here's the thing. Let us say that, Mugo, I think you are now 30 years, okay? Let us say that 15, time has passed. I left you a young man. Now, let us say, let us say that 15 years ago, I'm going to demonstrate limited omniscience and unlimited omniscience. 15 years ago, a God with a limited omniscience knew that you were going to be SDA. 15 years down the road, Isaiah was SDA. Okay? Then Isaiah made a choice to opt out of SDA. Unlimited omniscience is structured in this way, that even that choice that Isaiah has made, the new choice, God knew. Muga, do you understand that?
Yes, I get it.
So therefore, if God knows that you are for hell, if you make a U-turn, God knows. So God knows what you are into right now. And he knows what you will be into the next day or the next years. That's the omniscience. That's how it works. And that has nothing to do with your choices. We should stop blaming God for the choices that we have made. We have all the power. The power is in our hands. Information is here. For those who are suffering from ignorance, we should try and try and try again that we are informed. But unfortunately, when we go to our churches, we dance and sing and ask for bread. And if there are serious issues like these ones, the bread that we're asking for, we don't even know a thing about it. For instance, if you're asking God to be rich, how much information do you know about being rich? Has anyone ever asked that? So really, we are being lazy and blaming our laziness on this God. That is my argument. So let no one tell you that your destinies are predestined. Why? Why would a God who has fixed the destinies in his omniscience, the destinies of each and every person, why would we come and die on the cross? Then the cross is meaningless. It was utter drama. Because the cross, the God who dies on the cross, is a God who has come to convince free will beings. Free will beings are not saved like cattle and animals. No, free will beings are negotiated. Why? They have a will and a choice to make. And those choices must be negotiated. Hence the cross. Because if those who are going to hell, okay, are predestined for that, you have read that, I think, in Thessalonians, where he says that a child of damnation. I'm sorry, I don't have Bible readers here. I wish I had one. But there's a text in Thessalonians that says that because he was a child of damnation. Now, if they are human beings who qualify for that title, they are children of damnation, then this omniscient God already knows that so and so is going to get lost. So why would I come, die on the cross, have a mission of evangelism? Why am I evangelizing to those whose destinies are predestined? Why? What's the need of the gospel? No need. But because these are free will beings, that even someone who's standing in hell, I mean, hell on earth here, can opt out, then there's evangelism. Then why would there even be Satan trying to tempt people? Why is Satan tempting people? Why? And yet he knows his. That would be redundancy. So, gentlemen, the omniscience of God has nothing to do with our free will beingness.
Actually, my
Not,
is
yes.
exactly what you are now talking about.
Okay.
Yes.
So basically that is it, Mugoya. And I wish I could even stop here for us to think about the things. Moderator, thank you.
Mugoya, are you happy now?
Yes, I'm happy now.
It was quite a marathon. I encourage you to go and listen to the recording again. Sometimes these things take time to just make sense. So listen to the recording, and then of course you can always come back here.
Okay.
With questions. Yeah, thank you very much. I want us to tackle another question. This one is quite interesting. Peter, are you there?
I am here. I am here.
Bring another high voltage question.
I'm here.
Isaiah, I'll forget. I'll tackle Nyayole's question maybe later. Let me first go into this other one, which is a bit low voltage, I hope. Anyway, the question from Ian. Ian is saying, I've been thinking, how do you explain sexuality and spirituality? In the sense that masturbation is, as most Christian teachings say, sexual intercourse with demons. I think I've watched a Nigerian movie a long time ago as a kid of sexual relations with demons. But I'm trying to understand if the teaching is actually outrightly, biblically, sexual relations with demons, or it is a teaching that came from some insight, or is simply a balanced view by a Christian thinker that was meant to discourage the activity. Of course, with great consideration to the truth that the act is incapable of destroying one in massive ways. I've been thinking and I hear stories that make me sweat blood because of how adverse they are. Worse as ejaculating blood from the act. What have you learned from the Bible about this? Basically, and I've read it as it is. Brother Ian is wondering about masturbation. And I could actually extend this to, to wet dreams as well. Some people have actually said wet dreams are intercourse with demons. So Peter, the brother wants to know if the Bible says something about this, masturbation. And I'd also like to add the wet dream part of it. Yeah, I don't know if you've got the question.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I am 40 years old. And out of the 40 years, I masturbated for 18 years. One of the main reasons, if it is not the main reason, was to keep myself pure, to avoid sexual immorality, because it is written that fornicators will never see the kingdom of God. So in bid to keep myself pure, so that I gather the righteousness I need for God to take me to heaven, I did rather masturbate than have a physical woman with whom to have intercourse, all in the name of garnering righteousness. Now, I know not yet of any place in the biblical text where masturbation is. What ought to be similar, I think, is in Genesis chapter 31 or 32, where we have a young man who withdraws at the point where he ought to have poured his seed in a fallen brother's wife, as due, as culture deemed it due, and he was stricken dead by their God, the God who strikes people in their bedroom doing their private business. That's where we can probably have something akin to masturbation, but I know not of anywhere in the entire biblical text where the act of masturbation is. So that is the first point. The second point, or the second view or perspective, is that the devil is real. The devil is real. And the act, or the demon's acts of sexuality with humans is also real. For we have had people who testify, and others have witnessed them suffering from this problem or enjoying this problem. That is also undeniable. But to think that whenever masturbation is taking place, or a wet dream is taking place, somebody is having it with demons, I think that is far-fetched. I think that is far-fetched. But probably we would call it the ingenuity of sin. You know, even how I learned masturbation, I don't remember anyone taking me to class to learn it. When I became 13, no, when I was 12, I started to encounter erections and feelings I couldn't explain. And one day, while I was minding my own business, sitting unoffended, I had an encounter of touching myself and reaching an orgasm. And that's how I never saw it anywhere. So probably that is the ingenuity of sin. Maybe theologians would help us also here. Why call it ingenuity? The innovativeness, the creativity, the power of sin, where you become innovative and inventive of something you've never seen anywhere. Yeah, so I can say that it is a cause, it is power of sin that causes you at a certain point, but also demons can use you where you are the sexual partner. Okay, I think that is also possible, and that must be understood. And in that case, then you need deliverance. You need deliverance. We need to invoke the intervention of God, and we know He will, and we know that God can heal. I think that's what I can say at the moment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Petero. Bob, can you talk?
Yes.
You want to say something about masturbation? Is there anything prohibiting it? Is it sex with demons? Is there anything wrong with it medically? Just help us.
Well, I talk as a scientist, I talk as a Christian. Wow, this is a serious topic. Now, just like any probably other addictions, okay, masturbation can be addictive, and it can have effects on the person, okay. It can get into, I mean, some people end up not even wanting to get married because they know, okay, what do I need? So, you know, I can. So one bit is your social life can be affected by masturbation, but also down the line, it has how do you call it? It can cause poor election, and well, it can go into issues of fertility. Well, I mean, sexual. How do you call it? Which term can I use? Not able to, if once you get married because you are masturbating. Would be erectile dysfunction or something? The what? Sorry, I didn't get that. Dysfunction? Yes. I think that's the word. It can lead to erectile dysfunction. Early release of sperms, you know, where you become what they call it, a 30-second man or 1 minute man because of someone having, you know, masturbated for quite a long time. However, there's no for example, I mean, when we are growing up, we've heard of what you call wet dreams when you are a teenager. This can even happen when you're an adult. It's not restricted to teenage kind of setup, but it's more common for teenagers. So the sperm will be released through a dream. It's not anything like you're sleeping. I don't think it has to do with I'm sleeping with demons, I'm doing all this. It's just a natural happening, something that can happen naturally. Well, that said, I want to think that the advantages of I'll say this. When you're having sex and you release sperms, or when you masturbate and you release sperms, there's what we call endorphins. That a hormone called endorphins is released in your body, and that endorphins is responsible for, you know, you being happy. It reduces pain. It has these advantages. So you'll find that people who are lonely will find this act kind of consoling for them. It makes them, you know, feel that happiness, that temporal happiness. So for me, I'll really talk about the addiction of it. That the addiction of it can spoil you. It can lead you to. I mean, we've talked of when you get married, it can have all these consequences of you not being able to have the best sex ever with your partner because of your history of masturbation. So I think that's what I can say. I don't want to dwell so much on the biblical aspect. That it's a sin or not sin, or it is all that. But I just wanted to lay those facts on ground. But it's something that one should avoid because of the addiction and how it can affect your sex life even in the wrong land when you're married. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Isaiah? Is masturbation sex with demons?
Why am I invited this early? The people have not all shared their minds here. People should come and participate.
Tom has bad audio. That's why I'm not calling him. He speaks like in a shrine.
There is MB, there is the scientist Kato, there is, you know,
Okay,
There's
let me
more, yeah.
go to Abby. I know she likes these topics. Abby.
There's more, yeah. Ask Abby whether women also masturbate and how do
By
they.
the way,
Hey, these are
Abby, Tuyambi, is it true? Of course, I've heard of women who have been attacked in the night and then they wake up feeling like they slept with somebody, yet they've not. But let's talk masturbation. But Abby,
Hello,
Abby alinyeka boda. Kale, Kato, are you there?
Yeah.
This topic of masturbation, I know you're a scientist, you love science. But what do you have to say from a scientific point of view?
On masturbation, I would like to say something on a social point of view, not from
Okay,
scientific,
that's fine. Go ahead. Go ahead.
not from a scientific point of view, because science has not yet come up with a clear with a clear how can I call it, conclusion, if it is that beneficial, or if it has like healthy, if it, how can I call it, if it causes problems to a person who is doing it. But what I can say, if someone has his genitals, he touches them, maybe he feels bad or feels good, those genitals are his. You should be able to do whatever they need. And also adding on that, I think the real sex, the sex, sexual intercourse and what and masturbation. I believe sexual intercourse is more rough than masturbation. So even though the society, or like the religious people go putting like signposts everywhere in toilets, trying to say masturbation, what it causes, is it prostate cancer, what, all that is speculation. There isn't like clear evidence that suggests that masturbation like kind of causes that. And if it did, it would also mean like also having real sex will cause those very things. Cause actually, like I don't know, me, I used to do that thing when I was in high school, but it used to be less violent than sex. So someone who has masturbated and another one who has had sex, they are literally like kinda, I can't say doing the same thing, but the end is kinda the same. The pressure they get from those respective activities. So I believe our priests, you might be having more some light on this kind of a topic, but there is a lot of misconception around it, a lot of misinformation. The youth who want to touch themselves are always dehumanized, that touching yourself is bad and whatnot. Me personally, I learned this thing when I was in the shower trying to bathe under hot shower. That's when I knew that, oh, these things can happen. Yeah, that's what I can say. Modulator, I submit.
Thank you, Kato. Tom, is your audio better? You dropped off and came back.
Maybe I give it a try now. Is it better there?
It is better there, yeah.
Yeah, personally, I think religion and religious people showed a lot of mystery around many acts and things man does, including sex. I don't think the devil needs human sperms for any reason, because human sperms are human seed, to fertilize humans for propagation of the human race. But as far as sex is concerned, maybe the devil could abuse humans sexually, but tagging masturbation to donating sperms to demons and evil spirits is kind of a weird way of thinking. And I believe those who propose that and think that way are either ignorant or they want to create a mystery around masturbation in order to stop other people from masturbating. Because first of all, when you masturbate and ejaculate, you ejaculate sperms. The same way you do it when you are having conjugal things with a woman, you will still ejaculate. What causes the difference? That this time you are ejaculating into a woman, and here you are ejaculating in your hand or in a towel or something, and as the towel transforms to the devil. So I really think masturbation could have effects scientifically, like the scientists has told us, but it is not a way of doing sex with demons. I don't think demons need human sperms. They may only take pleasure in abusing us as human beings. But needing human sperms? No. Thank you, moderator.
Isaiah.
Yes, moderator.
Is masturbation sex with demons? How biblical is it? We are helping Ian.
I would like to read a verse in the Bible. It is in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18. And that verse says that I am reading from the NIV. It says that flee from sexual immorality. All other sins a person commits are outside the body. But whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. That is the verse that I wanted to share with you. Now, to answer the question whether masturbation is having sex with the demons, we need to first of all understand who demons are. Do demons have a physical body? Answer.
No.
Is sex a physical activity?
Yes.
Yes. So it is impossible to have sex with spirit beings when you are physical. In other words, a physical activity can only take place where there are two physicalities. I do agree that spiritistic beings, through the energy of the universe, can torture someone's body. But that cannot qualify as a sexual activity. Your genitals being tortured by an unseen power. Because there are many women who have experienced this. But your body being tortured or being used by an unseen and unphysical agent, that does not qualify as having sex. So for me, I would like to begin from that angle, really. That's where I want to begin from. So it is important for people to understand that if there is any unphysical and unseen agent taking advantage of your genitals, a man or a woman, that is not having sex. We know, we have a dictionary meaning of having sex. So that is the whole idea. That's the whole idea, Mr. Moderator. So to answer your questions, me, I would say that demons cannot have sex with you, but they can torture your genitals to even culmination. They can. And they can even exhaust your body. They can. Just like the manipulation of the powers in the universe and the energies in the universe can affect and effect your body vibrations. And the Eastern mysticism has actually mastered this art of placing the body within the energies of the universe, and then there is effect on your body. This is happening in the Eastern mysticism practices. But that is not having sex. We know the process of having sex, at least for those of you who are my age. Okay, and even quite below, because I've had candidates here who started when they were 12. Now you be careful with some people. People start early. So moderator, the moderator, I read you a text because there are things that I would like to share with you. Moderator, you broke MB. So there are things that I would like to.
Why you continue?
So there are things I'd like to share with you from this text that I've just read. Okay. It is important for all Christians, and this might sound as a bombshell, but let me unleash it, because me, I like putting my mind on the platform so that people come and you know and critique it so that I get to unlearn and even learn more. All Christians must understand that there is a difference between what is wrong and what is sinful, what is sin. Because it has become a tendency for many preachers to call what is wrong sin, and even in some areas call what is sin wrong. And yes, the two are different. So when you read this text, it says that flee from sexual immorality. Now, there are things which are wrong sexually, and those we call sexual immorality. Okay? In fact, I think the Greek is I think it is polneian or polneia. Polneia. This Greek word has been translated as fornication. Whatever that English means, fornication. But for me, I would like to, in principle, to demonstrate to you that the text is telling you to not be wrong sexually. Okay? And when you are wrong sexually, like this text was translated, it says, all other sins. Okay? It says that all other sins. and they use, they misuse the Greek term. You can't say that, for instance, let us use now the example of masturbation that we're using. I am sorry to take you through biblical exegesis, because it's important for you people, when you read this text, to understand actually. It is wrong in biblical criticism. This word sin, translated as hamartia, it is misplaced. We cannot be discussing sexual immorality and then you use hamartia. All the hamartia, a person commits outside the body. But whoever hamartia as sexually, there's nothing like that. Whoever sins sexually, sins against their body. They cannot be anything like that. Because my Greek does not allow to put hamartia on sex. Do you guys understand? Or actually, are you following? Why? Because in the New Testament, am I left alone here? Hello, 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 hello?
We are on. We are on.
At least there's someone here. In the New Testament, there are like 8 words that are translated as sin, but they mean different things. So you find people who are masturbating, okay, who are committing a sexual immorality. And they are told that they have committed a hamartia because they are reading these texts. They are told that they are sinning. But I think that will be for another day. Or if questions arise from this, I will come back again. But for now, let me go back and demonstrate this. What a human being is soul, spirit, and body. Now, sex, gentlemen and ladies, has got 2 aspects of our humanness. It has got that biological aspect, which is actually more dominant. And then it has, power has gone off at my place. Allow me to use other lights here. And then it has that other bit or part of it, which is spiritual. Let me use that because it is Monday. Okay, but it would be psychological. So whatever there is wrongness of our exercise of sex and applicability of sex, there is some wrongness, even biologically. There is some wrongness. Okay? Now, that wrongness could even start from diet. And this is what is discussed in Leviticus chapter 11 and Deuteronomy chapter 14. The Bible is trying to warn you about how careful you need to be with what you consume. Liquid, smoke, and solids. You have to be careful because they have an impact on your biology. Okay? Now, when it comes to sex, isn't it? There are hazards within this beautiful practice that we all enjoy. Oh, maybe some don't. That most of us enjoy. There are some hazards. Now, those hazards that come with how we practice our sexuality, okay, are the ones that we are warned against. But these hazards are physical and they are biological. It is important for us, first of all, establish that there are physical problems with abused sexuality. That there are physical problems, and we need to be careful with that. Okay? For instance, there are infections, curable and incurable. There are those infections. So sexual immorality, sexual wrongness comes with that. It really comes with that. Okay? Now, If science says that there is something wrong physically with masturbation, we need to listen and investigate what is wrong scientifically with masturbation. If there is alternative science that says there's nothing wrong with that, then we need a debate between those who say there is nothing wrong with that and they give their reasons, and those who say there is something scientifically wrong and physically wrong with masturbation and they give their reasons, and then we weigh. We cannot just conclude that no, science says that no, they are just, those are myths. No, let us investigate. Before we even jump, because many preachers do not even mind science, and yet science must be inspiring our sermons. I am reminding all preachers wherever they are, once you delve yourself into scientific matters, directly or indirectly, for instance, indirectly, if you're talking about the body, consult science and see what science says about the body. You just can't wake up and say, masturbation is a sin. Masturbation, but this is a physical thing. What do you know about the physiology of human, of the genitals of human beings? So for me, moderator, this is very important for you to understand the wrongness, okay, yes, if science talks about the advantages of masturbation, isn't there a science also that talks about the disadvantages of that? Because science is a balanced study. Science is not a one-sided thing. Or the little science that I know, because I'm also a student of science. It tells you about the disadvantages and advantages. So people have to evaluate this. The disadvantages, okay? Is masturbation only a disadvantaged thing, or it is also advantaged? If it is advantaged, what is the prescription and how do we exercise it to minimize the disadvantages and enjoy the advantages? This is the role of science. So this is what we should dwell on, so that we can establish the rightness or the wrongness of masturbation. In fact, the rightness of wrongness, or the rightness and the wrongness of masturbation must be largely established scientifically. That is the whole thing. Now, to shift gears then and take now this to the psychological bit of it, okay? We need to ask a question, two questions. One, the process of ejaculation. The process of ejaculation. What happens to a human body when they ejaculate? Then we have to go back to science. Science demonstrates that there are reactive hormones that are oozed from certain organs into particular organs. Hence the excitement and the breakdown of the entire body when someone ejaculates. You guys know what happens. I mean, for those of you who have ejaculated in the past. So there's a scientific explanation of that process. Okay? Now, when that hormone, okay, when that hormone that the scientist here tells us that is endocrine hormone, when that hormone pours somewhere in your body, what is its nature? Okay, what what is its nature and quality when you're having sex with someone, and what is its nature and quality when you're masturbating? Because are the two the same or not the same? These are serious questions that you need to ask. then how does that process how does it affect your psychology in both short and the long run? And how does it help your psychology in both short and the long run when you are having it with someone physically and when you are having it physically alone? How do these hormones affect your psychology for the good and for the better? These are questions that we need to ask. That's number one. Number two, if in the psychology of an individual who is masturbating, there must be an image of someone, then such masturbation is problematic. But if there is a kind of masturbation where in the psychology and the head of the masturbator does not necessarily necessitate an image of a particular being, distant and absent being, for the process to be entertained and happen, then I think there is no problem with the psychology of that individual, especially if it is initially, if at its initial stage it has begun like that the first time I masturbated, I did not need no one. And all through my masturbating experience, I have not needed any image in my head, neither a visual on my phone or on my computer, on my tab, on TV. I have not needed any image assistance. Then you're all right. You're just igniting your body, I don't know how, and then coming and having fun. Now, moderator, if you are still on, I would like to pause here and ask, is the process of masturbating possible without image projection? I need help there before I conclude.
The question for the moderator or it's for...
It is for you to moderate the question.
FB.
Because you were born on the pulpit, you have never seen the masturbation. You are the good guy here.
Yeah, me, I'm holy. I'm in heaven even.
Okay, sir.
Let me ask Peter. Peter, you answer that. Did you need image projection in those 14 years you mentioned?
I don't know whether I needed one at 12, but I don't remember, because with me, I did not need anything. I only needed myself and self. I don't know. I don't remember the day I had an image or I did not have. What I know, I could do it everywhere, anywhere. I don't know. I don't know.
So for
Okay.
you, your masturbation was not a reference to having sex with someone. And
I don't know.
And no, I don't know is a lousy answer, Mr. Seruvide. We are asking for you to tell us your experience. At 12, you were naive and innocent, I understand. But when you, by the age of 18 and whatever, beyond adolescent, etc., so you didn't have those fantasies with girls, and then that helped your masturbating experience and exercise.
Sometimes I could.
Oh, so there were sometimes, now you know.
I think sometimes I could, but
okay, fine.
Mine was terrible.
No, we are not here to tell us how terrible it was. Our question is, did you at any point did those images at any point aid your masturbating experience?
Yeah.
So for me, I think that people who masturbated really are a large number, not everyone, but a large number of all people who masturbate need an aiding image to work with in their head. But we can debate that. And you see, moderator, if there is the need of that image for you to masturbate, I just don't care whether you are using a dildo like women use. Even if a woman is using an electric dildo that they use, in her head, she has to fantasize that six-pack guy holding her tight as the dildo does its business. So moderator, if there is anything like that, now we shift from what is wrong, and then we go to what is spiritual at that stage. What you are doing then, if you have an image in your head while you are masturbating, what you're doing in the process, you are raping someone.
Hey.
Because you are having sex with them without their consent.
We are all rapists.
Yes. So that is the whole idea. So I need to call FB and tell her that ngenda kuba kasabuni but then nsaba nkozese ku kifaananyi kyo. And I hear her view. Do masturbators do that?
Nope.
So this kind of ghosting fellow human beings, okay? These are the demons. Now, this is why I bring in the demons. Now, these demons in your head, invisible, unphysical people and unpresent people that you are having sex with against their consent, is the demonic bit of it. And we should stop raping other people in our bathrooms and in our beds. Why? Because even when you have too much semen on your back, the body has a natural process of releasing it. You have termed it as wet dreams. You will have wet dreams until you are in menopause. You just give it time. You'll wake up when you have already released. Then secondly, gentlemen and ladies, I am sorry to tell you this as a pastor. You don't need to masturbate. Get someone and have sex with.
Maybe have you had?
Can I hear the challenges for that? Where are the challenges for that?
Getting someone is hard.
Why is it hard? You go and buy. They are selling sex as a commodity on the shelves. Some people sell in terms of give me transport. Really? Others actually have price tags. Some of you, because you are holier than thou, you don't want to buy those with price tags. You want these ones who sell in terms of give me transport. Use that. Have a sexual partner, because you know getting someone is difficult. Get a sexual partner. Listen to me. Whether you are married or not, get a sexual partner whom you go and test together, because there's a certain lady who wants sex. Everyone with a body wants sex. Get someone you agree on terms of sex and have sex. Married or not, you have to have sex. Your body must have sex. And sex does not require marriage, because there are many married people who are masturbating because their spouses have denied them sex, and therefore they are masturbating. Some even masturbate at the back of their spouses. These things are happening in marriage. Therefore, marriage is not a guarantee that you're going to have sex like you want it. More so, the quality. So some married people are in the bathrooms masturbating. The fact that you are masturbating demonstrates that you have sexual problems. Find ways of fixing sexual problems. If you still have a spouse and you are still masturbating, you need help. Why? Because masturbation is the wrong way of exercising sex. Unless if you tell me that masturbation has nothing to do with sex. Let us be clear. I want to be honest with you. Hate me or love me, but I'm telling you, if masturbation is sex, wrong or right, then masturbation is unnatural, is the unnatural way of having sex. So please stop acting unnatural when you are natural. If you're not married, one of the things that you need to plan for, like you plan for your diet of food, you need to plan for sex. Where do you get sex from and how?
Maybe.
You should sit down with someone and agree on having safe sex. Go and check with that individual, then you are having sex. And if it is only about sex, keep it at that. It is sex. I have safe sex with so and so. And I can only trust the sex of so and so. We need those arrangements, gentlemen and ladies.
Safe sex.
Yes, we need these discussions and those arrangements. Stop pretending, me, I'm a Christian. Jesus is my husband. Jesus has no power on an erection. Can I say that again? I don't care how much you pray, how much you are spirit-filled, you will have an erection. You'll even be reading the Bible and your pants will raise. And my sister, you'll be reading the Bible and you'll be flowing down there. You'll be flowing. So I am kindly begging you, as your elder brother, in these matters of faith and in these matters of physicality, grow up, make arrangements for sex before you start putting your hands into your genitals.
If you're married and you're not getting sex, then you make arrangements.
Make arrangements of sex. Talk with your spouse. Because if your spouse is denying you sex, what is she or he doing there? Marriage is about sex fundamentally. If there is no sex, walk out. Or talk about it. You can, all of you, get sex from outside and stay together for other reasons. Don't joke with sex. Sex is very powerful. It ranks second after food. Can I say that again? The hierarchy of the needs of a human being, primary needs, food, second, sex. So why aren't you guys talking about it? And why aren't you making arrangements? Thank you, moderator.
Yalinga mafuta amalungi omuwendo mungi agakulukutiranga
Kati ulire embwa
muki
mbu mu kirevu kya Alooni nga mukulukutira muki.